Good evening, Israel. Good evening. It's a beautiful evening. The Shabbat is over, unfortunately. So it is the first day of the week, 19th day of the first Hebraic month. Today is my last day of observing the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So I thank the Most High God of Israel in His only begotten Son's name for the opportunity to indulge in yet another memorial that was set to the side to remember and commemorate the Most High and His strong arm in saving the nation of Israel from our bondage in Egypt, thousands and thousands of years before I even touched in this particular body. So I'm gracious to the Most High. I hope that all of my people that have just finished observing the Feast of Unleavened Bread do not allow any more leaven in your heart. And for those of us that are still observing the Feast of Unleavened Bread, I hope that we continue in striving to retain love for our brethren and to abstain from the hatred of our brethren, leaving any unforgiveness far as the east is to the west out of us. We have to know how to forgive our brethren. And I also hope that our brethren are making it easy for one another to attain the desire to forgive your brethren and move forward. We know that this is a salvatory issue. And if we are all striving on the same accord, one cause, it should not be that complex. So again, I thank you all for being here this evening, and I hope that you had a blessed and lovely, beautiful Shabbat. I was thankful to the Most High for the rest that He gave me. Gregorian-wise, it is April 27th, 2024 AD. It is still considered Saturday. It is 8:59 p.m. Central Standard. It's about 81 degrees outside, which is crazy. It's this late, yet this hot. And I tell you, it is definitely warm outside. I just came in not too long ago, a little over 30 minutes ago, from taking out the trash. And it is very warm outside. It's like a whole nother climate when you come in. We left off in the Chamber of Wisdom, better known as Proverbs, chapter 31. We last read verse 15, but we did not get into the breaking down of verse 15. So let's pick it up and let's move forward. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, beginning in verse 15, which reads, She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. It's important for us as women, as daughters of Zion, as daughters of Sarah, to understand the importance in maintaining our household, not only for ourselves, but for our husbands. We have to make it easy for our heads to maneuver, even beginning in his own home. It's important that we are rising early, cooking food, making sure that everyone has a full belly, not just yourself, but your husband as well, and the children. That's also a time and opportunity for you to take a step back and to pray. Come here into the book of Mark. And let me find it. Just a second. This is the gospel according to Saint Mark, chapter 1, verse 35. It reads, And in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place, and there prayed. When we come back to Proverbs chapter 31, verse 15, which informs that the virtuous woman riseth also while it is yet night. This means that she is rising when the new day has begun, because we know that Hebraic timekeeping, that the new day begins in the evening. Let's just turn over to yet another scripture found in Leviticus 23:32, I believe it is. Give me a second to get there. And it helps us understand the constituting of a day. There are quite a lot of verses throughout the scriptures that help us to understand the constituting of a day. But let's look at here this one. It says in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 32, "It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even shall ye celebrate your Shabbat." This is letting you know that in this day, this 9th day of the month, at even, when our new day starts, when the new day is constituted, that we are supposed to be keeping this particular feast. But give me just a second to see if I can find another one that's a little more straight to the point. Just a moment. We're back over in the book of Mark, and this is chapter 1, and we're going to start in verse 32. It says, "And at even, when the sun did set, they brought unto him all that were diseased and them that were possessed with devils." Now we know that in this particular chapter, in accordance with this particular chapter in St. Mark, chapter 1, verse 21 emphasizes that this is the Shabbat. Now moving down to verse 32, a few verses afterwards, it's letting you know that at even, when the sun goes down, which is when the new day starts, that this is when the people that were around and nigh unto Yahushua began to bring people that were diseased for the healing of Yahushua, so that he was not working on the Shabbat. And as mentioned, there are many other scriptures to go into that coincide with helping us understand what a day is and what is constituted as a new day. But us that are seasoned, we should know this by now. And those that are newer into the truth, remember to study to shew thyself approved, dividing the word righteously or rightfully, so that you are able to attain this knowledge on your own as well. And not just taking my word for it or any other congregation's word for it, but believing in the word as it is written, so that rivers of living water flow from your own belly. Coming back to verse 15, it lets us know that she riseth also while it is yet night. So this virtuous woman, she's rising in the new day, but before daybreak. There's so much that you can do in a home when everyone is asleep as a woman. If you have a home and your husband is asleep, the alarm has not gone off yet just for him to go to work, the children are not yet ready to get up for school, there's a lot of spot cleaning that you can do. But the most important thing, as mentioned in the book of Mark in chapter 1, will be to begin your day in prayer. We know that at this day and time, we have to awake from this slumber that we have been in for centuries. It is high time that we awake, and we have to be watching and praying continually. You have to cease. You have to pray without ceasing. You have to be in continual prayer throughout the day. So it is very beneficial to start your day in prayer. That's the opportunity for you to go through the home and anoint the home. Pray over the children as they are asleep. Pray over your husband as he is asleep. Asking the Most High to dwell in that place, his spirit to dwell in that place, to rest upon that place, to send guardian angels in the name of his only begotten Son to watch over your family. So there's a lot that you can be doing when you are rising before the day break through the clouds. There are things that you can do for yourself. It's not just limited to cleaning and cooking. There are things that you may be able to get done for yourself. If you're anything like me, or anything like a true daughter of Sarah, with royal blood running through your veins, you like to look presentable. Take out that moment, that opportunity to go take a shower. Go shave or wax, whichever one you do. Do your hair. Put on some nice, clean, beautiful clothing. Some perfume. Look presentable when your husband awakes. This is not to say that you have to be A1 all the time. You got to walk through the house with your face full of makeup. But just like we do not like when our men try so hard to get us in the beginning and change up on us when they have us, how much more our brothers, our husbands. Give him the thing that he fell in love with. It wasn't just your personality, because he didn't know you when he first seen you, right? He didn't know you. He didn't know how you were, how you thought, what your life was about. The first thing that he saw when he saw you was your appearance. Were you walking around with the eyes, the crust in the eyes, with your hair looking any kind of way, dragging breath, slouchy clothes, stained on the clothes, walking around with the same clothes for about 3 days? He didn't fall in love with that. It's just as fair for you to maintain what he fell in love with, just like you want him to continue what he did to get your attention, to gain your love, to gain your trust and confidence, and opening yourself up to become one with him. So there's a lot that you can be doing. I mentioned spot cleaning. If you're anything like me, I like spot cleaning. I enjoy it. Because at the end of the week, you don't have to do much. You still probably deep clean if you're something like me. I still will deep clean. But you spot cleaning. Kitchen clean. Okay, the dishes put up. Okay, let me fix the table, set the table. Breakfast gonna be ready in just a minute. All right, let me straighten up the things in the refrigerator. Let me make the kids lunch for school. Let me make my husband lunch for work. Okay, let me make sure that my husband's car is cleaned out before he gets to work. Okay, let me make sure the kids have everything that they need in their backpacks and emergency items that they may need. Let me make sure my husband has that few dollars, the $100 bill that he may need for gas, because he probably don't have anything on this card or don't want to use his card for this particular situation. There are a lot of things that you can be doing. But you always want to make sure that you start and end your day in prayer. And that is the best time to pray, in solitude, when it's quiet. That gives you the opportunity to increase in the spirit and decrease in the flesh. And it says, and giveth meat to her household. Meat is not just bison, lamb, chicken, turkey. It's not limited to just the meats, like the actual meat that you tear and rip apart with your teeth to digest. That's the food, the morsel, the meals. We gotta eat. That's how we sustain. We need sustenance. You don't want to be that mother, that wife that's feeding your children cereal in the morning. It's cute on the Saturday morning commercials, but there's a worldly saying that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It is. It's the first meal of the day. It is the meal that breaks your fast. You are sleeping for about 7 to 9 hours, I'll give, depending on what your schedule looks like. My sleeping is about 7 to 9 hours, 7 to 9.5 hours. You are breaking a fast. It's important for you to have a belly that's satisfied to move in toward your day. Come over here to the book of. This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 19, and let's start in verse 4. It says, but he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And as he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him, and said unto him, arise and eat. Elijah was hungry and tired. When you are hungry, sometimes we start thinking irrationally. Now we have to remember, in accordance with the book of Romans, I want to turn there. I want to be backing up literally everything that is being said in this particular teaching with scripture. This is Romans. This is chapter 15, verse 4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." Our forefather, Elijah, a prophet of the Most High God of Israel, was hungry and sleepy. And because he was hungry and sleepy, his thoughts and thinking became so irrational that he desired death. There's this worldly proverb or this worldly term, hangry, hungry and angry. You're not yourself when you're hungry. Isn't that like the Snickers slogan? You're not. You can't process well. You're not thinking well. It is important that your household have meat. We gotta eat. And you can't just be giving them no bowl of cereal, no Pop-Tart, this big sugar rush, and you're gonna crash eventually. The body is made up of different elements, and the earth has everything that our body needs to replenish itself. You have to be that woman that feeds your household, not only in the spirit, but naturally. And then vice versa, not only naturally, but in the spirit. Because according to the word, we know that man will not live off of bread alone, but out of every word. But let's turn to it. I really hate when I be messing up the scriptures like that. It just, I don't know, it makes me feel down. I don't know why, it just makes me feel disgusted with myself when I mess the scriptures up. But Matthew 4:4, it reads, "But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God." So as previously mentioned, it's not just limited to the spiritual food, but also the food that your body needs, and vice versa, not just the food that your body needs, but the spiritual food as well. Your household has to eat, and you have to feed them goodly things, things that are nourishing to their bodies. What do they call them? Carbohydrates, different proteins, legumes, beans, oats, hot cereals, sodium, folate. You need these things. And I don't have it to ram it into your head much more than what's it already been, but we get it. And the rest of this verse says, "And a portion to her maidens." So she giveth meat or food to her household, and also a portion to her servants, her women servants, her woman servants. So she's fair. They're eating as well. You're supposed to give them their portion if they're working for you. That's only fair. So this is a fair woman. We move on down to verse 16 that says, "She considereth the field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard." This word "considereth" stood out to me because it means that her thoughts are not hash and irrational, leading her to make goodly decisions. So she takes a moment to count the cost before actually jumping into it. There is a verse in the scriptures that speaks about this. Give me a second to see if I can find it. This is Luke chapter 14, and we'll start in verse 28. It says, "For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest haply, after he hath laid the foundation, and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him." So this is letting you know that this woman, she doesn't make irrational decisions. She is counting the entire cost. It says that she considereth a field and buyeth it. Do you know what it means when it's inserting here that she and buyeth it? This means that she has her own money. She has her own income. So you can throw that slum down into the drought where it belongs. If you come into this truth as a woman and think that just because you are a woman that you are not supposed to work, that you have no brick to put in, you have to make ends meet as well. That don't mean that you become this lazy sluggard. And you just want to depend on the man that you're sleeping with. Unless that brother just does not want his woman, his wife to work. That's a different story. That's how he wants to run and rule his household. So that's your personal business. That has nothing to do with me. I'm speaking in a generalized setting or generalized way. That doesn't mean that you're no longer supposed to work and that now all your responsibilities fall on this man. If that was not the thing that was written out or put down on the table beforehand. You have to have your own money too. You have to work. You still got to work. It says, with the fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard. With the fruit, that means with the work of her hands, she planted a vineyard. Similar to like entrepreneurship. Come over here to Jeremiah 29, and we'll go to verse 4. Jeremiah 29, verse 5. It says, build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. And we'll stop right there. This is likened unto entrepreneurship. So with the work of her hands, she planted a vineyard. That's where her money's coming from. Now, this does not solely mean that you just have to have your own business. Oh my gosh, I gotta get up, I gotta get me a federal tax ID. I gotta come up with a business name. This is not what this means. If you desire, and if it's your preference, you can still work a 9 to 5. You could be salaried, you could be hourly. It's whatever you decide. If that's what your head wants, if you are a married woman. But when it says here, with the fruit of her hands, she planted the vineyard, this is speaking about work. Her own vineyard. This is entrepreneurship. This is a working woman. She has her own income coming in. She ain't clocking in on somebody else's time. She ain't coming when somebody tells her she can come. She ain't asking for PTO. This is her own. She has her own. And that's the best way to be as an Israelite man and woman. It gives us a little bit more, not a little bit, it gives us a lot more control over what it is that we want to do with ourselves. We know that a lot of these occupations that we work on nowadays, it's a little bit challenging for us as a whole to be able to request time off for feast days, to observe the Shabbat, and to cease all manner of work and rest. So it's a goodly thing if you're striving for entrepreneurship, no matter what it is. I see a lot of the brethren that sell clothes, garments, fringes, zits. I see that. And I see other entrepreneurs, midwives, doulas. We need more of that. That's my preference. That's where I aspired in. And I'm solely a midwife, a doula, a birth and fertility practitioner for my people. Do you know how good it feels when a heathen comes to me asking me to deliver their baby and I can tell them, no. My work, the birthing stool that will have the behind sitting on it, is my sister. I don't care about these heathens. And it feels good. You can't say, where's your manager? Baby, this is my business. You know how good it feels when I look at my website, when I'm on looking at the numbers, looking at how many people have visited, and then seeing the website live where it says Israelites ran, Israelites owned. Do you know how good that feels? And when you scroll down way to the bottom and you got my business hours, and on Friday I leave early and Saturday I'm closed. Do you know how good that feels? So it's not to shun those that are okay with working the 9 to 5, but there is so much more leverage in entrepreneurship. This virtuous woman here, it says, with the fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard. This is an entrepreneur. Verse 17, it says, she girded up her loins with strength and strengthened her arms. This woman works out. She's not the couch potato. She's not just worrying about having a nice size gluteus maximus. She's making sure that her body is fit. And I don't mean to seem so shallow, but men do not want an out of shape woman. I don't care how many of his children that you have had. You don't just let yourself go because you've had his children. I see some women, a lot of women, you have those children and it's like, okay, well, I had his kids, and that's your excuse to be walking around here now. Your stomach's flabby. And there's a difference between the stretch marks and you just not caring about how your body looks anymore. But then in the same token, to the brothers, this is not an excuse for you to try to dangle, oh, I want to get with another woman because this woman looks this way now. No, you help her. You help her. You motivate her. You influence her. You have to be her biggest advocate. And talk to her. Be soft with her. You don't have to say, girl, you fat. Oh, you built bad. Now you look nasty. No. You let her know, babe, I was looking at some gym memberships. You think it'd be nice if we join the gym memberships and take a few classes? I mean, however you want to come about it, in a compassionate way. Because you know that we are the weaker vessel. So this virtuous woman, she keeps herself looking fit. She looks nice. Arms are not flabby underneath. They're firm. Stomach flat, looking nice. You ain't got to be just, 6, 8 pack. It ain't got to be looking like that. But a nice stomach is fine. That flab, and oh gosh, I be seeing the women that have those tight shirts and then that flab of stomach that hang from under. That looks so nasty. Like, why do you think that that's attractive? That's not attractive. And it's hanging over your privately part. That looks so gross. You have to be fit. I'm telling you, don't no man want that. I don't care how many of your children that you've brought forth for him. He don't want that. And that means a lot to him that you still care about the way that you look to him. It has to be like you're meeting each other for the first time every day, again and again. Now, this is not to say, as mentioned in the beginning, that you got to be walking around with your face full of makeup, your hair always pressed. It's okay to walk around in some comfortable clothes every now and again. You don't want to get comfortable with just looking any kind of way. I don't know if a lot of you may work from home. It can become very comfortable or the norm to walk around in pajamas, or if you are a nudist, to be nude if you work from home and just brush your teeth, throw some water on your face, and throw your hair back in a ponytail, a bun, or a puff. But don't forget about your husband. Men are so easy they're so easy to please that it's so complicated. They're really so easy to please. Literally, they want peace. They want food. And they want to be able to be intimate with their woman. That's literally all they want. After serving the Most High God of Israel. They're not asking you to jump through hoops of fire. And they literally tell you what they want. You just gotta listen. We'll come down to verse 18. It says, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth out not by night. I'm sorry, let me read that again. It says, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She knows what she has to offer, my people. It's quality, not quantity. It's goodly. That verse is very self-explanatory. Verse 19 says, she layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. My apologies to distaff. That distaff is a whirl of a spindle. That means she's good with her hands. Not only is she good with her hands, she knows how to sew, my sisters. You have to know how to sew, my sisters. And this is not limited to just garments. Do you know that sewing also falls into cosmetology? If I have any women that are cosmetologists and you perform sew-ins, what is a sew-in, sister? You're sewing in wefts of artificial hair. Sewing is beneficial in many things. If times get hard, you're not able to purchase clothing. Material is very cheap. I personally shop at Joann's Fabrics. It's like a seamstress heaven. They got everything you need. Material is cheap. If you know how to use measurements, cut, and sew, you can sew together curtains. Baby, you can sew together shoes, moccasins, the leather top portion of the shoe. You can do a lot if you know how to sew. There's so much that you can do. Verse 20. It says, she stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yeah, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. So she makes herself available to those that are in need. She is not the one that says, I'll give to them tomorrow. When we know that today's evil is sufficient enough, so you're not even supposed to worry about tomorrow because it doesn't add a cubit to your stature. And we know that we're nothing but a vapor of air, and you can't say what you're going to do tomorrow unless you say, Lord, if it be in the will of the Lord. So she's compassionate on those that are needy. It is a good thing to look out for those that are needy, because when you are feeding the poor, that means a lot to the Most High. Do you know that there is a law in Leviticus? It's in chapter 19. Let's come to it really quickly here. Chapter 19 of Leviticus. And this is verses 9 through 10. It says, and when you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. I am the Lord your God. That means a lot to the Most High. There's literally a law telling you that when your harvest comes, you ain't even supposed to take all of it. You have to leave for those that are in need. You can't always want to put yourself first, sister. I know that in the times that we are in this world that we live in, it is so glamorized for a woman to be likened unto a man. Getting the bag, got heck of money, got this car, got this house, got this, got that, like you a whole man. You've been masculinized, is that a word? You have more masculinity than you do femininity. That's how it has become. So I can empathize with it, I understand it. But it's not justification to continue in that way. You can't keep trying to put yourself first. Now, that's not to say be foolish, if you are in need and you just giving somebody your last and you need it. No, I'm not saying that. But if you are able to give, there's nothing wrong with giving. Absolutely nothing wrong with giving. And you give back so much the more. How can you think that you're going to get good if you're not doing good? I believe that's a verse. Let me see here. It's got to be another chamber of wisdom. Give me a second to see if I can find it. I don't want to call it out and it not be the right book. Y'all know I've been a little rusty lately. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, better known as Sirach to the majority of us. This is chapter 12. This is verses 3 through 4. Well, actually, let's read 2 through 3, which read, "Do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense, and if not from him, yet from the Most High. There can no good come to him that is always occupied in evil, nor to him that giveth no alms." So how can you expect good if you are not giving good? If you're not doing any alms? You have to help those that are in need. You don't know when you will be in need of something. You're going to be in need of something. If you are on this earth, in this kingdom, you are going to be in need of something. I'm not saying that you'll end up homeless. I'm not saying that you'll end up without a job. I'm not saying anything. I don't know what your judgment is. I'm not the Most High God of Israel. I am a woman. But we all fall into that moment of our life where we are down and out and I need help. How can you get good without giving good? For any of you that have been on this channel, in this classroom, since I experienced homelessness, do you remember the man that used to send me $500 per week? He did that for months. I'll say about half a year. Almost half a year, $500 per week, and was even wanting to send me a car, a brand new vehicle. Because when you do good, you get it back. You reap what you sow. If you sow to the flesh, that's what you're going to receive in the flesh. If you sow it in the spirit, you're reaping up treasures in the kingdom of the Most High. This is me roughly paraphrasing. And you'll get it right back. Now, that's not to say that you only do alms and only do good just so that you can get good. No, you do it because it's the right thing to do. We are literally in a grace period. Let's read Titus quickly here so that we can understand what grace means. This is Titus chapter 2, verses 11 through 13. It says, "For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men, teaching us that, denying ungodliness and worldly lusts, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world, looking for that blessed hope and the glorious appearing of the great God and our Savior, Yahushua HaMashiach." That is your grace. Working toward and striving toward being a righteous man, a righteous woman, a godly man, a godly woman. More scriptural every day. Purging that leaven every day. Killing that old man, that old woman every day. Picking up your cross and crucifying your flesh every day. So you don't want to always be looking for something in return. You doing it because you know it's the right thing to do. The Most High don't owe you nothing. He don't owe me nothing. He don't owe none of us nothing. You know what he do owe us? To give us death. That's what we deserve. So for us to do things like you're waiting for him to do something back for you or to recompense your reward like you're deserving. You're not even deserving of it. We literally have been going off from the beginning. And for us to sit here and be so pride-filled, like this is something that he has to do. You know how great of an honor it is just for you to know who your God is? Let alone have the things that sustain you. I feel like the more I teach, the dumber I get. I don't think we mad enough. I don't think we've learned enough. Because we literally are still here. If we literally all had it together, we would not be here. We are still here. Because we're still doing the same thing. The exact same thing. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Do you know that some of us that are walking in this truth still have some of the worldly ways? You brought it right into the truth. Making it hard for those that are sincere in this faith. Now, it's one thing to be wrestling with these principalities, these spirits on high, wrestling so that you can prevail against them, that you can keep them under your feet. It's one thing when you are working toward being a better man, a better woman, but it's another thing when you come bringing all of manner of lasciviousness around the people that are being sincere. Do you know that it makes those that are sincere in this faith hard? It makes it hard for them to believe those that are actually sincere. Because you don't want to put down the pride. You don't want to stop being lustful. You don't want to stop lying. You don't want to stop being the center of attention. You're so god dang on smart and you know this book like the back of your hand, but you lack so much common sense. I get so disappointed when I see my people. And when I look in the mirror, because I'm an Israelite as well. From the tribe of Judah. That's my belief. That's my faith. That's what my faith is based. We are such a beautiful people with spirits that are so ugly. Other nations are supposed to look at us and be like, man, that is a wise and understanding nation because we follow in the law of the Most High. The only nation that is nigh unto the Most High God. And this is how we act. That's why people wag their head at us. Shake the finger at us. That's why they don't even believe that we are who we say we are. We have people in this truth, in this walk, that have brought all manner of wickedness. You make it hard for those of us that are sincere. The Lord literally don't owe you nothing. He don't owe me nothing. I shouldn't have even been able to wake up to see this day. Because I've sinned a sin unto death. And I know I ain't the only one. So you do it because it's right. Not because you're expecting something in return. And if you do get a reward out of doing it, glory be to the Most High God of Israel. Verse 21. It says, she is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. Now that household, actually, let me stop. This verse here, I saw it twofold. I saw it spiritually and I saw it naturally. The household is likened unto the husband. So of course in the winter, in the fleshy winter or the carnal winter or the seasonal winter that we see in the seasons, her husband don't have to worry, her children don't have to worry about the cold. Because she's good with her hands, so she can make them clothes. She's an entrepreneur, so she has money, so she got to buy them clothes. They got clothes, we're going to be warm. If we send in here a power outage, we're going to be fine as far as garments, blankets. We're going to be good. Well, no one's good but the Most High. We're going to be straight. But then I also saw it in the spiritual aspect. If you come over here to the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, and this is verse 18. Just a second. I clicked too forward from it. I got hot, y'all. I was in here really mad. Chapter 1, verse 18 in the book of Isaiah. It says, "Come now, and let us reason together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool." So she's not afraid of the spiritual snow, that drought, that what is it spoken about in Amos? Where there will be that spiritual famine. We'll be seeking that word. We'll be seeking those that were crying out unto us on the byways and highways. Well, she's not afraid of that spiritual famine to come for her household, because her household is clothed with scarlet. That scarlet in this sense that I saw it as when I read Isaiah 1:18. There'll be light, there'll be understanding, there'll be no sin. So they don't have to be fearful when there's a scarcity, when there's a famine of the word, because she's taught her household, her children, she's taught them this law. They're keeping their righteousness, they're wearing their garments with no blemish. They have the oil for their lamps, so they're not like the 5 virgins that were not prepared, asking the other 5 for oil, and then went and turned to go get oil, and then when you get back, the doors are closed. For those who have ears, let them hear. So she's not fearful of the snow. She's not afraid of it. She's prepared. There is a big role that comes with being a woman, an Israelite woman, but not only an Israelite woman, an Israelite wife. And not only an Israelite woman, an Israelite wife, an Israelite woman striving to be an Israelite wife or an Israelite wife, but the one that's striving to receive that label of a virtuous woman. It's not easy. The more this world evolves and the things that we see, the scriptures say in the book of Matthew and a lot of the prophetic books, the Gospels in particular, when Yahushua spoke to us, that this world is going to wax colder and colder. People's hearts are going to wax colder and colder. You got goddamn kids up in these schools talking about you a cat. You ain't no damn cat. And if you're a mother or a father that has to work to make ends meet because of the interest rates and how everything is so expensive, you probably got to send your children to school. 9 times out of 10, the people that are teaching your children are your very oppressors. It is a challenging thing, my people, and I'm sorry if I feel like I'm yelling at you. I'm not yelling at you. It's the passion. Are you really ready to strive at attaining this label? Can you really, truthfully, honestly say that you are a virtuous woman? I want to read that verse again. Verse 21, it says, "She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet." Verse 22, "She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple." She knows how to dress. She knows how to dress. You can't only know how to do verse 22, my sisters. You know how to get live for full moon. For new moon. You know how to look good for Passover, Feast of Dedication, Purim. You know how to look good for these days. It's not just about how you look on the outside. You have to remember the scripture spoken about. Let's come over here to it. This is in 1 Peter. This is chapter 3. I want to read verse... this whole chapter looked like it buzzed down. But let's read verse 1. Let's start in verse 1, and I'll read till it ends the thought. It says, "Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives." Sorry, let me read that again. Verse 1 in chapter 3 of 1 Peter reads, "Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear. Whoso gosh, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting. Goodness gracious, my people, I apologize. Let me reread verse 1 through 3. It says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if, oh Lord in Christ. Verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair, and of wearing of gold, or of putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price. Lord in Christ, I apologize. I don't know why my words they weren't. Lord, that was just horrible. And I do not like when I can't read the verse. It's just terrible. But we understand that that's basically letting you know it's not just your outward appearance. It's what's on the inside. Because we know that what's on the outside is not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. You're going to start getting wrinkly. Things are going to start getting saggy. Certain things are not going to be lubricated anymore. That's just what happens with age. So it's not just about the outside. So I think we all as a whole, the majority of us anyhow, understand how to dress, but it's not limited to just the outward appearance. You have to think about the inside as well. Verse 23 says, her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. Because those that are the men that are around other men who have goodly wives, those men know that. That is an envy to those men. Like in the world, men that have cars and gold chains and grills and heck of money. That's like something that's goodly to a man. You know what I'm saying? Like other men envy that. In this truth, a man that has a good wife, a wife that's trying to attain being a virtuous woman, who is humble, who is meek, who is obedient, those men know that. You can tell when a man is being worn down and dying because of the wickedness of his wife. She's killing him. And you can tell the difference between a man whose wife is goodly to him, who's marrow to his bones, who brings life to him, who is literally the support of his life, his pillar of rest. Men can tell. Oh, you got a good wife. They know this, man. No, I'm just kidding. But they know this. They know this. So her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. They talk about this. But you got a good wife. That woman love you. She's in subjection to you. She listens to you. She's obedient. You come, your clothes smell like good detergent. You don't ever come up in here stomach growling. You full. You never asking for no food. When we out here teaching, I see your backpack got about 2-3 bottles of water and a good snack and a piece of fruit. She got the towel in there. There's an ice pack just in case it's hot outside. You got Dr. Scholl's in your shoes because you know you're going to be standing for a long time. And then when it's hot outside, she got the hand warmers in there for you and a backup pair just in case you out there longer than the time frame that they're going to be hot. All of that. That is a goodly possession. She loves you. She cares about you. And those people, those men, those that are around you, they see that. Verse 24 says, she maketh fine linen and selleth it and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. That's part of her business, a part of her entrepreneurship. She's so good with her hands, she just be in there working. She finding something to do. Let me just sell it and bring in some income. Put it to the side for emergencies. She has what the world calls, it's called fiduciary. It's basically like financial trust. It's financial response. She's financially responsible. Putting the extra money to the side for just in case this happened. So if the car break down, she not tripping. Okay, go take it to get it fixed. We got about 10,000 on the side. Ain't no bills about to go unpaid. The baby's sick. One of the kids sick. They got a medical bill about 5 G's. Okay, that's cool. We got 15 cents to the side. Go pay it. She has financial responsibility. She's making herself useful. Make yourself useful. Verse 25. It says, strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. Similar to what we just read in 1 Peter, the verse that I was having a hard time reading. It's not just about what's on the outside. Strength and honor are what she is wearing. That's what she girds herself with. That's impeccable. Verse 26. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She has the law of kindness on her tongue. Come over here to Ecclesiasticus, better known as Sirach to a lot of us. And this is Sirach 36. Sirach 36 and verse 23. It says, if there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then is not her husband like other men. She has the law of kindness in her. She's following this law. She's affectionate. Now, this doesn't mean that if you are a sister like myself, I'm not necessarily the most talkative sister. If I know you, yeah, of course, I converse with you. I'm not the most talkative sister. I kind of like to sit back in the cut, you know. I'm not the one that really likes to be around a lot of people. I get like, what is it called? Social anxiety. So it's okay. It's not to say that you got to change your personality. This is not what this is saying. Follow the law. That's all it's saying. You don't have to change who you are as far as your personality or who you are, your character. You just want to modify your spirit so that you have moral, especially around your brethren. You don't have to pretend to be something that you're not. I'm not a talkative person. So if I know that I'm congregating, I'll speak. How y'all doing? But I'm not about to sit there and pretend that I want to talk and conjure up conversation. Now I'm uncomfortable as heck. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that. And that's okay. Verse 27. It says, she looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. So she helps in maintaining the home. Nothing is out of order. She knows where everything is and is aware when something is off without you having to say it. The husband don't have to say nothing about anything being off. She knows. She knows. Somebody moved my glass bird that was turned toward the northeast. Now it's turned toward the south. Who was in here playing when I told y'all not to be in here playing? Matter of fact, go and get me my pen off the table. It's between the laptop, and if you look at that cord that has the pink tape on the end of it, you'll find it right there. Oh goodness, there is a power outage because of the thunderstorm. But if you go in the bathroom and look under the cabinet, now be careful when you reach in there because there is some NyQuil. But right next to that NyQuil, you're going to find that big flashlight. Get the flashlight. Everything's in order. Everything is where she left it. You want to be able, I used to, in the world, I had a friend when I used to date or whatnot. And, you know, in my home, he used to make funny comments. And that's kind of where that little parable just came from, or that example came from. He was like, he bet that I would know where everything is, even if the lights were off. And indeed, I would. That's how in order I like to keep my home. I don't like things out of order. I become mentally discombobulated. So everything has to be in order. There are going to be times where something's going to be a little off, but then I put it right back in order. That's how it's supposed to be. Come over here to Sirach. Sirach 33, verse 27. It says, send him to labor that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much evil. So it says that she eateth not the bread of idleness. She's finding something to do. When you are sitting still for too long, your mind begins to devise all kinds of things. You know, and we all know that the heart is desperately wicked. Above all things, who can know it? You do not want to be sitting idle with nothing to do. Find something to do. There's always something to do. Always something to do. Now, this is not to say when you are tired and you need a moment to sit up, sit down and kick your feet up and take a rest. That is not to say to push yourself, your feet hurt. You got bunions because you're on your feet all goddamn on day. That is not what it's to say. You can rest, sister. You're not a slave. And in accordance with the law, we cannot have bun men or bun women of our own people. So it's a difference between being a helpmeet and a servant slave. You're not a slave. So you don't have to be on your feet all day. You can rest when rest is needed. But do not become idle to where you become a sluggard and you're not keeping and maintaining that home. Homemaker, that's an actual job. That's an occupation. It's a job. Come on over here to verse 28. It says, her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also. And he praiseth her. Your children should not have bad to speak about you, sister. Your children should not remember traumatic things that you've said and allowed to be done to them or have done to them when they get older, my sister. They should be able to call you a blessed woman. Not holding conversations between their siblings when they get older and like, man, mama was evil as hell, dog. Mama was mean. Mama wicked. Man, it shouldn't be like that. It should not be like that. Because you're supposed to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Though you've given birth to those children, they are your brethren as well. They are your kindred. So you treat them like you want to be treated. And this is not to say that they're your friends and you're supposed to let them run over. No, absolutely not. That is not what I'm saying. But y'all catch my drift. And the husbands, it says, and her husband also, he praised her. You're supposed to tell your wife when she's doing good, when she's doing the thing that pleaseth you. She needs that recognition. Recognize her work. You can praise her. I noticed that you did this way. I love it when you do it this way. Thank you. She's not your slave. She's not your servant. She's not your bond woman, your slave girl. She's your sister. You can praise her. She's a blessing unto you. You sought for her all your life and you've been given her. So you treat her with kindness. You don't want to be hard with her, pride-filled with her. You can't apologize to her. You can't say sorry, but you know you wronged her. Verse 29. It says, many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. This is just basically a comparison of the daughters of Sarah. This is basically acknowledging that some daughters of Sarah have fallen short in comparison to this virtuous woman. That's all it's saying. You've excelled them. You are doing well. Well. Look at you. Look at you. Trying to attain this label of virtuous woman. Look at you. Matching these scriptures. Look at you. You are doing so well. Verse 30. It says, favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Now, this is basically like the favor that you have could be because you are beautiful. That is what the world has called this thing called pretty privilege, right? But that beauty is vain, and it's not a reward, because you will age. Now, your fear in the Lord, that's your praise. That's your reward. So it's not just based on your outward appearance. That's deceitful, because you really don't know why they really care. Why are they actually showing favor to you? Because of your appearance? Okay, well, when you get older, will that favor still be there? No. You want them to love and adore you and praise you because of the works that you bring forth, the fruits that you are producing, because you are yielding fruits that are worthy of repentance, worthy of reward, worthy of acknowledgement. That's like a cheat code. Now, I'm not saying that you got to be ugly, that you got to be unattractive. We have some beautiful sisters. That's a plus. That's just a plus, because it's not going to last forever. Your hair is not going to be black forever. Eventually, you will have a hoary head. You're going to start gaining those little wrinkles in your forehead. Your cheeks are going to start to sag a little bit. Now, black don't crack, but you will begin to age. That's something that will happen the longer that you are here. So favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she will be praised, or she shall be praised. My apologies. Verse 31. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. So the labors of her actions are her reward, and her work will praise her in her comings in. So in the time of judgment, that's going to be the thing that's praising her. The things that she put forth when she was here as that virtuous, that woman trying to attain being a virtuous woman, as that goodly helpmeet, as that goodly mother, as that Israelite woman. For those of us that are not married, that may not want to be married, that want to be like Paul and don't marry. But the thing that you should be trying to attain as an Israelite woman is being a virtuous woman. I don't know if you'll ever get to it before you die, but that is something that you want to aspire and attain. That's something that's goals, hashtag goals, right? It has been a great honor to be able to be on for the days that I've been on here and reading the scriptures with you all. I enjoy it a lot. It quickens my spirit, especially when I am going through some very afflicting times. So I appreciate the opportunity that the Most High has given, and I love you all dearly. Lord knows I love you. Those of us who are Israelites in spirit and in flesh, I graciously love you, and I thank you all for staying tuned. Lord willing, we'll be visiting some chambers of gospel. I look forward to getting this recording up, and I hope that you all enjoy it. Remember, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Never cease prayer, bind and loose, and always live ready. I will talk to you all as Yahweh wills. I love you. Bye.